once again, good evening parents and students. Welcome to our 2023 Junior College Night. Again, I'm Helen Olivera, Junior Class President, and I am honored to facilitate this panel presentation. We are very proud to have invited admissions officers from 4 wonderful colleges and universities to share insight of their admissions practices and process. On stage, we have Alicia Miller, Associate Director of Admissions, the Cooper Union. We have Andrea Nadler, Director of Engagement and Relation Manager at Hofstra University. We also have Ali Kamara, Associate Director of Student Enrollment and Management at Macaulay Honor College. And lastly, we also have Christina Lafosa, Assistant Director and Admissions/EOP Coordinator at Stony Brook University. Welcome and thank you for attending our Junior College Night. On behalf of my fellow students, I will ask the panel to address a list of student-driven questions. After that, we will leave some time for our students and parents to ask questions as well. So, to begin, first question. Please share with us some basic facts about your college, university, such as location, size of student population, admissions criteria, majors of study, if you are a public or private school, and other similar facts.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So I'm here on behalf of the Cooper Union. For those of you who do not know, the Cooper Union is a small private institution located in the East Village, so Lower Manhattan. And at the Cooper Union, we have around 1,000 students, and we specialize in 3 areas. We specialize in art, architecture, and engineering. So if that's something of your particular interest, that is something that you would get at Cooper. And within engineering, we have chemical, civil, electrical, mechanical, and we also offer general engineering as well. And so at Cooper, we have a lot of amazing faculty. A lot of them are practicing artists, architects, and engineers. So they're telling you about a lot of things that they know how to do. And what's really great about the Cooper Union as well is that we have a lot of labs and facilities for our students. And in general, we also offer internship opportunities as well. So I'll pass it on.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrea from Hofstra University. We are located just 40 minutes east of here without traffic. That is, I do believe 40 minutes, maybe some days 35, some days 50, give or take. It's all dependent on the traffic because we're located on Long Island. If you know where the Nassau Coliseum is, you know where Jones Beach is, you know where Hofstra is. We are a medium-sized private liberal arts university with just over 6,000 undergraduate students. So we can know all of our students' names in the classroom with an average class size of 21. Your professors will know your name. We've got 165 programs of study, and it's a suburban atmosphere. Students have access to 18 dining establishments. We have 21 Division I sports. I'm very biased because I went to Hofstra and I've never left. So I tend to get very wordy when I talk about my school because I love it. It's my happy place. Some people say Disney is theirs. I say Hofstra is mine. And with that, I'm going to pass the torch.
Hi, everybody. So I'm from Stony Brook University, which is a part of the SUNY system. We are one of the SUNY flagship institutions within the State University of New York. We're on the larger side. We have about 18,000 undergrad students. When we add in our grad and doctorate, we're a total population of about 27,000. We also have about 18 Division I sports, about 400 different clubs and organizations, and we're the most diverse school within the SUNY system, which I think is just a testament to where we're located. We are located on the North Shore of Long Island, very accessible by car, but also by train. The Long Island Railroad train station has a stop right at Stony Brook on our campus. So it makes getting to and from the city, when I'm talking to my students, this is a huge selling point that students from the city are able to get back home when they're missing mom's cooking or when it's their little brother's birthday and they don't have to plan a plane ticket or an 8-hour bus ride to get home. We have about 200 different programs of study for those 18,000 students, and I think the general public knows us a lot for our STEM programs throughout engineering and computer science, but also our biological and health sciences, our School of Marine and Atmospheric Sciences as well, but we're the only SUNY with a School of Journalism on site as well. We have a College of Business, so there's a lot of different programs outside of the STEM field. Our students are fully engaged. The mission and the heart of Stony Brook is diversity and bringing that into cross-utilization of knowledge bases, so research is at the heart of what we do. We are a research institution, part of the AAU as well. So if you're looking for that experiential learning, that's something that Stony Brook does well.
I think because I'm the last person, also my throat is itching, so please apologize. Talk back to follow some of my colleagues up here. My name is Alexander. I wear a lot of hats in Macaulay. But just to go through a few things about Macaulay, we're the honors college of the city university. We have 8 campuses. So pretty much we're spread all around the 5 boroughs. We have Brooklyn, Queens, College of Staten Island, Lehman College, City College, Hunter, John Jim, Brook. We offer 475 majors to choose from. Those majors are duplicates from school to school. Some schools are known for specific areas of offerings. For instance, if you're interested in business, we have a school for that. If you're interested in architecture and engineering, we have a school for that. If you're interested in pre-professional health, we have a school for that. So whatever you're looking for, we have you covered, okay? In addition to that, our students, the admitted students, get to go to Macaulay for free. It's a merit scholarship. So we all know right now, in terms of the debt to student ratio, students are not looking to pay a lot of tuition. So this is where Macaulay becomes a game changer for a lot of our students. Majority of our students, when they graduate from debt free, okay? And thereafter, when they go to big and better things, such as graduate school, law school, medical school, their debt is extremely low in comparison to other students that might attend another school. A few things about Macaulay. We are small. We have about, give or take, about 2,500 students for the, in terms of for the whole entire Macaulay. Each year we accept about 520. I'm trying to make sure my math is correct in my head, 520. But again, we look at our 1% students. Those students that have exceptional marks, those are students that we look for. Even though Macaulay is competitive, but I have to say, in terms of the benefits you will receive being a Macaulay student, it's a very, very good exchange if you were to be admitted to Macaulay. So again, to learn more about us, please go on our website, or any colleges here, go on our website. The best way to learn about each college. So even though we're up here, we give you the quick notes, the quick synopsis. So for you to get the reservoir of information, please go on our website and do a thorough drill down to obtain more information about our schools, okay? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. For our second question, what are some of the major factors that you look for in an applicant?
Thank you. So when reviewing an application, there are many components, and at Cooper we have more of a holistic review process. So with that, thinking about that, we take into account, of course, your academics, the school you went to, the courses were offered, and the grades that you made. In addition to, there is an essay component, so we do want to see someone who's a good writer who can talk about our school, because we are really small and niche in a way, so understanding why they would specifically want to come to Cooper and study art, architecture, engineering. In addition to that, students, of course, get letters of recommendation from a lot of their counselors and teachers, so that way we get another aspect of you. Like, we get to see beyond your grades, we get to see beyond your writing, and just hear from someone who's had more of a personal connection with you over the years. So that's something we look at. In addition to that, I would say extracurriculars. Like, some of you may be involved in a lot of different organizations. So for us, we like to see, like, what were you doing in addition to, like, what leadership roles did you hold in that organization and how long you were involved with it, because that indicates more of a passion as well. With Cooper being a small school, a lot of our students make the school what it is. We have over 80 clubs and organizations, and a lot of those just stem from things that students are interested in and things that are specific to a lot of the majors as well. So that's just a little bit about what we look for as well.
You're going to hear the term holistic a lot, because we like to see the total package that a student offers. What will you all bring to the table? And when we look at applications, the transcript is always going to be the first and foremost, because it's a roadmap of years of choices, patterns and trends of achievement, strengths and weaknesses, things that you enjoyed and didn't enjoy, things that you were required to take and things that you chose to take. So we're going to see all of that, and we're going to look from 9th grade to 10th grade. Then we're going to look from 10th grade to 11th grade, and then from 11th grade to 12th grade. What courses are in progress your senior year? All those things. How many years of math? How many years of science? How many years of foreign language? We know this is an honors school. We know what it takes to get in here. So colleges know these things. When it comes to standardized testing, we will look at it if you choose for us to look at it. There's a question that says, do you want your test scores to be evaluated with your application? You could say yes or no, and it's not a trick question. Okay, now there are certain programs, like physician assistant studies, direct entry medical, that are test requiring. Even though we are a test optional university, there are still 2 programs that require it. So when you hear, we are a test optional university, you have to say, for this program as well, because you may not hear, you may hear test optional and think that that's true for all the programs. So you have to do a little bit of deeper digging. But when we look at test scores, it's because the student has said that they wish to share it. We are looking to see what is it. We super score it. When it comes to the SAT, the ACT, we're always going to look at your very best. But if you are choosing to withhold your scores, we're not judging you for that. We're just going to say, okay, this student doesn't feel that their test score is indicative of their abilities as a student, and we'll move right on. And we like to see what you share in your essay because it tells us a little bit about you, maybe a little bit of something that we didn't know before or in other parts of your application, and it tells us how well you write and that you could write well. And then when we're looking at your resume, we're looking to see what do you do outside of going to school and watching Netflix, right? How do you handle life and stay productive? How are your time management skills? There's no one best activity. There's just what you are into, what are you passionate about, and how do you showcase those talents and passions and interests. I heard that a lot of you are here long after the school day is over. And I saw a lot of you at the robotics competition at Hofstra on Friday. So we know that you're doing things. We just want to see how do you format that in your resume and what is it that you're really interested in and passionate about. And then of course when we look at your letters of recommendation, we want to see what the people in your school and in your life outside of school, other than your family members who we know love you, but the others, right? Counselors, teachers, coaches, advisors, employers, what do they have to say about you? What do they say about your character, your ability, your potential to be a leader, to be a good student, to be a serious student on a college campus? And all that combined helps us to determine whether we believe that you could be a good fit. So I think you'll hear that kind of overview across the board, and I've probably stolen things, but I know they're going to add things that I didn't even think of, so you're going to get a lot of good info tonight.
So it's a bit of a mic drop moment there, Andrea. That was pretty much covered all the bases. A couple things to just add on. Everything that she just mentioned is spot on. The transcript is really that roadmap. It tells us academically if you're a good fit for our institution. Not every institution is a good fit for you. So we're trying to see if you're a good fit for our campus, whether that be academically, making sure that you are able to succeed in our rigorous courses, specifically for the program of interest that you have. When you're choosing a major on your application, it is very important that that major matches up to what your plans are. When we review an applicant, we do review based on that major. Not every school does that, so it's important to note the schools that you're applying to and how they rate applications. And that's something, as admissions counselors, we are very transparent with. We're here to help you into the school, not to keep you out. So I think the goal is to reach out to each individual institution to really see what they value. In a school like Stony Brook, I was telling your counselors today, we received about 50,000 applications this year. We don't have that many seats to offer to our students. So when we're looking at a class, the first thing that we're looking at is the black and the white, the transcript, those test scores if they're submitted, to see if the student meets kind of our goals and our criteria and our guidelines. After that, that's where the color gets added in. And you, as students, are the color, okay? You are the ones adding the pizzazz and the kind of extraordinary to your application that we don't always see from paper. So once we see that a student can meet the guidelines, that's when we move on to everything else. I always get a question about, can my essay make up for my transcript? And that's not always the case, right? The transcript, just cut out. The transcript is really wonderful. I'm pretty loud. Can you all hear me?
No, it's me,
Okay.
sorry.
Thank you. The transcript is there as that map, so we always go back to that. Make sure you make wise choices. Ask us. If there's 5 schools that you're hoping to get into by the end of your senior year, ask those schools what they're looking for, if not all the schools that you're applying to. So my piece of advice to you is to just seek that out.
Wow. When you're the last. So, here's the thing, folks. I'm going to go a different direction from my colleague, because Andrea sort of kind of sums it up for us nicely, and Christina as well. So, most students will not get into a school of their choosing, not because they don't have the grades, because they will fail to do comprehensive research. If you're buying a house, you don't do research, the first house that you see you jump into, not until you're going to have a house that has structural issues, plumbing issues, electrical issues, all of that. But today and age, we have some of the best and the brightest people in the world who are great researchers. But when it comes to college, they're like this, I don't know what to do. So, this is all to the young people. This is what you can do for yourself. Each college up here, or any college you're interested in, has a theme that they look for. Andrea said it very nicely, we're looking for student leaders. I'm sure it's the same thing for across the board around here. But how do you show your leadership component? How do you show that? How do you show, besides you just putting words on paper to say, this is who I am, I've done this. No, there has to be an arch to it. You have to be your own salesperson. When we read your documentation, sometimes we don't even see your name or your race. All we see is paperwork. We see so many paperwork. You don't even check to see, okay, which school the student is coming from. Only when there's an issue, you're forced to pause, then you pause. So quick things, what are some of the things that you can do? Participate in info sessions, open houses, go online, take a virtual tour, befriend someone that graduated from that school, let them tell you exactly what they did skillfully that got them into that school. Be caution, do not ask someone like grandma who graduated 30 years ago, 20 years ago, because that is old information. Someone within 3 to 5 range, okay? That's within the means. Second of all, build a network of people around you. Everyone around you in this college process serves as an advisory capacity. Your parents, counselors, admissions rep. We're all advising you, so you have to take all that information, make sense of it, and apply it to see how it fits. After you've done that, then you start going into detail to say, okay, now, what am I going to write about? I have to submit essays. Okay, does this school have the program that I want? Does this school have the infrastructure, the facilities that's going to help me? I'm a student athlete. Will they help me in terms of internship? Will they help me with mental health issues? Will they help me with job placement? So it's a lot of undertaking. So when you ask yourself the question I was posed, what do you look for in terms of a student? Well, well-rounded student. And someone will say, well, what does that mean, well-rounded student? Student who's academic savvy, student who's a leadership, student who's making a difference in the world, but most above all, a student who could demonstrate to us that when they come here, they're going to contribute to the organization. That's what we look for. If you apply to any one of the schools up here, you're going to have a whole bunch of students that meet the criteria. You have this many people apply, but we have this many spots. The only ones that are going to get in are the ones that are going to work overtime. So again, during the summertime, that's when you can start writing to your teachers. Give them a cheat sheet or brag sheets. Let them know the schools that you're applying to. Start writing your essays, mock essays. I put them up late May, early June. You can start writing your college essay then. If you have not done the internships or volunteer work, any other thing you may want to do, whether it's your synagogue or your church, you can start doing that in the summertime. So by you doing this work, it will help you for you to be free or have less pressure in your senior year. Senior year was not designed for you to research college. It was designed for you to apply. You can start researching college as early as 5th grade. Yes, most people don't realize 5th grade. Okay? We do talk a lot, so let me drop the mic and give it to somebody.
Is it on? Yes, okay, cool. For our third question, this applies to all except Macaulay Honors College, but we promise we still love you. All right. Do you have an honors college? If yes, how do students apply to it?
Thank you. So at Cooper, the entire school is an honor school, just because it's quite selective. We have a 14% acceptance rate. And at Cooper, of course, you have a lot of rigorous STEM coursework for engineering, so a lot of students are doing a lot of heavy science and math. And with art and architecture, students are, well, all across the board, everyone's hands-on at Cooper. They're in the labs, they're in the studios that we have, because experiential learning is important to us, because we want to set students up for success when they graduate, because the better our students do, the better we look. And so the entire school is quite rigorous, but you do have that support from your faculty. So you're not just a number, you're not going to get lost, and you have the support of your peers as well.
At Hofstra, we have an honors college, and for those students who are selected, it is by invitation only. Typically, for a test sending student, it would be a student with a 91 average and above, and 1340 on the SAT or better, or 29 on the ACT or higher after super scoring. For a test optional student, it would be a student with over a 91 or better, and typically students who have certain dual enrollment courses or AP courses, and that is by specific selection only and by specific perusal of the application by the Honors College Dean. The Honors College at Hofstra is customizable to students' interests once they are in attendance. They take a seminar course in their first year. It's worth 6 credits in the fall and 6 credits in the spring, and it's called Culture and Expression, and the curriculum is designed by the professors who are teaching in it. It's designed to delve into a particular time period or a particular culture, and to go into all of the history, philosophy, literature, political aspects, pretty much all of the humanities and social sciences that you could imagine that would be surrounding that time period or culture that they are delving into. And then after that, the students would have completed that as a freshman, and then in their sophomore through senior year, they take one honors course each semester from then on. Either it's one that is specifically designed for honor students only and only open to honor students, or it's one that they choose to go into detail in a regular course where they're working independently with a professor to design an additional project or something research-oriented or writing-oriented or reading-oriented or fieldwork oriented to further customize what they're learning in the class to an honors level class. So that they're taking that class with non-honor students, what are they going to do to earn the honors designation of credit? So that's how that works, and I will pass it on.
There we go. At Stony Brook, we do have 3 main honors programs that students can apply for with just a little checkbox on their application. If it's not on their application, it's in their applicant portal. If applicant portal doesn't sound something like words you know yet, I promise you, in 6 months you will. Every school has an applicant portal. It's a great way to follow along your application and see what you applied for, or apply for certain things, submit additional documentation that we can take. And one of those things is honors programs. So our 3 main honors programs are Honors College, WISE, which used to stand for Women in Science and Engineering. We've struck out that women, and it's now minorities, female identifying students in science and engineering to really increase female identifying students and minorities in STEM. Additionally, we have a program called University Scholars. So those 3 main honors programs you can apply for right from the start. We also have 2 programs called Scholars for Medicine or Scholars for Dental Medicine. These are our medical school and dental medical school direct entry programs, or BSMD programs. These are not the typical route of our pre-med students. So for those of you out there shaking your heads like, yes, they have BSMD. It's not the typical route. We typically, so for instance, Scholars for Medicine received a few thousand applications. Out of those few thousand, about 27 were invited for an interview. After that interview, only about 8 will be offered the kind of honor of being a Scholars for Medicine student. So pre-med is more of the traditional path. However, those are 2 additional honors programs. Now, Andrea mentioned kind of early on that there are some programs that may require test scores, even if the total university is test optional. Those 2 programs are the only 2 programs right now at Stony Brook that require test scores.
All right, you are all welcome to answer the next question. To each of your colleges, what does demonstrated interest mean, and how important is it when you evaluate a student for admissions?
All right, so at Cooper, when we're talking about demonstrated interest, that's more of can you see yourself at Cooper? We're a small school, we're quite specific, so either you want art, architecture, or engineering. So it's more so of you taking time to research the institution to see, can you see yourself there? Do you want to be at a small institution? In addition to that, you could also do virtual information sessions. You could come to a campus tour. We do those weekly, so students, and they're actually led by current students, so you can actually hear an unbiased opinion and actually get a tour of the facilities and more so see what we have to offer as an institution. So those are some of the things that, in terms of demonstrated interest, in addition to following us on social media, I think we have a YouTube, a TikTok, Facebook, various different things, just to see the school and kind of stay in tune. But does that factor into the admissions decision itself? No, it doesn't. Because a lot of our students, we do have international students as well. And of course, a lot of them cannot come to campus tours and things like that. But when students do take the time to do the additional research on the institution, that actually buffers your essays. That makes you write better. You can speak more about the school and why you specifically want to be there. So I'll pass it on.
Thank you, by the way, to the lighting crew and the sound crew, because I would never know if this was working. And so I'm just thankful that every time I go to say something, it's on. So thank you, everybody. Give a round of applause. Really, this was wonderful. We have a wonderful moderator, a wonderful guidance team. Thank you all for this invitation tonight. There is no shortage of events to attend on campus and virtually these days, right? Especially nowadays, because we took all the best aspects of virtual engagement and virtual webinars and all those kinds of things that we had to do when COVID forced us online exclusively, and we kept all those things, and now we can have such a far reach. And I don't just mean the 4 colleges that are and universities sitting up here, I mean colleges and universities nationwide and internationally. So when we talk about demonstrated interest, it is how you show that you're interested in us, right? It could be as simple as a phone call. It could be as simple as an email. There are no shortage of emails either coming out of these colleges. How many of you, I hope I can see, how many of you are getting emails from colleges now? I think a lot of hands just went up, even though we're in the light here in the dark. Yeah, so as simple as engaging in an email, as simple as taking a virtual tour. Somehow we know that you went on and took the virtual tour, right? Even if no one narrated it, even if you did it at 3 o'clock in the morning on your own, somehow we know you were on taking a virtual tour. And then of course there tends to be all of the in-person things and all of the narrated live online events too, right? So when we talk about tracking interest, and yes, we do care that you have shown interest in us. We like to engage with you. We send a lot of messages, but we like it best when you engage us in a dialogue. And so we ask you, how are things going with your college search? And you tell us, I'm just beginning my college search. Now we have a conversation going. Now, in today's world, we also can see somehow there is software that allows us to know if our emails are getting through, if they're not getting through, and usually we find out when a family member calls us and says, we haven't been hearing from you, and then I have to go and look in our outbox and see what was sent. Oh, we sent 32 messages last month, but none of them got opened because we may have the wrong email address. So we do want to know how you are engaging. We want to see you. We want to give you an opportunity to take advantage of the best kind of program that we can offer. Is it virtual? Is it in person? Is it a tour? Is it a specialized webinar from an academic dean or something along those lines? Is it a student panel? We've got all these things. And the more of these that you come to, and the more times you engage with us, the more likely we are to know your name when we come to your high school and come to a college fair and see you on our campus. And that is the purpose of all of these things, is to help you find the right fit and also help us build a relationship with you so that we can be on your journey with you, your family, and your counselor to help you see if we could be the right fit. So yes, the short answer is yes, we do care about that. Does every college or university? No, not every college or university can, but those of us who are small enough and personalized enough, we do want to see how you engage, and we want to make it as accessible to engage as possible.
So we have all of the in-person events that was mentioned. There it is. Keeps coming in a little bit. All of the in-person events, whether they be tours, open houses, all those virtual events that were mentioned. Yes, those are wonderful. Like Andrea was touching upon, it's even interacting with an email. We see when you opened the email, if you clicked on anything in the email, what you clicked on in the email. These are things that we look for to see if we're doing our jobs right, to see if you are engaging with us and what seems of interest to you. So when we're looking at those things, it's really important that you are interacting with schools, especially at certain times throughout the year. Right now you're researching schools, but come September you're going to be applying to schools, or starting to. And by this time next year, you're now going to be looking at schools in a completely different light. You may have been admitted, and now you're wondering, how do I decide between these 5 schools? So now we're doing different engagement for you. So it's really important to keep that consistency going, keeping that demonstrated interest. It's not for admissions purposes, not at Stony Brook. It's more to see if you are truly interested, and make sure that we're engaging you correctly and that you remain that way. So it's sort of that way to express your interest. Now it's not something, like I said, that we take into consideration as part of the admissions factor. I just sat on a panel the other day that kind of stated that that's kind of going out by the wayside because there's a lot of low socioeconomic, a lot of first generation students, a lot of these kind of diverse cultures that may not necessarily demonstrate their interest as much as students who have this opportunity to come to a panel at their school. So each school is a little bit different, but either way, engage with us, because even just a click on your email is something that we know. So we get to know your name, and we get to know where you're from, and we get to know about your family, and that means something to us.
Let me apologize, because I may sound like a big contradiction what I'm about to say, okay, from my counterparts. I'm going to separate myself completely. I've been in business for close to 3 decades. I don't know any industry that has demonstrated interest. McDonald's doesn't have it. Housing doesn't have it. Airline doesn't have it. What does demonstrated interest mean? What does it mean? School is a business, folks. We, here, the industry, we've come up with a very clever way to sell our product to all of you, and we are very good at it. We are very good at it. Andrea can sell you your shoes, Cooper Union, I can sell you your own cell phone. No, I'm serious, and we're really good at it. But the common theme around here, each school is different, and I said this earlier. Each person here, whether you're 16 or 17, the ownership is on you. That decision solely lies on your shoulders. This is a business. The more you know, the better off you're going to be. The less you know, the better off our industry is going to be. If a school A has demonstrated interest, school B may not offer demonstrated interest. If school B offers SATs requirements, B test optional. You cannot lump every school into one business. The reason why I'm stressing that, mommies and daddies, you have to encourage your sons and your daughters to do that research. As a parent myself, that's one of the things. My son will be going to high school, just got accepted to Bergen Catholic. And again, we have to do a lot of research to find out this is the best school for us. And it was not easy. I've worked in the college, but I don't know anything about the high schools. But I told my wife that we're going to do this thing because, again, we have the knowledge and the tools to do the thorough drilling that is required. Do not lump every school into one basket. No. Here's some of the things you can do. Go to the schools directly.
Speak with the admissions rep. Sometimes you want to go as high as an associate or a director. If you get an opportunity to speak with them, those people have a tendency to be in the business a lot longer, and they cut through the excessive fat. But make sure when you come correct. 2, understand terminologies. They are very, very important. I am so busy, my calendar get booked 3 months in advance. If I have to explain to you what demonstrated interest means, if I explain to you the basic stuff, I'm not helping you. So come in knowing. Secondly, have someone that already been through the process. Let them tell you what the journey is going to be like so you can prepare. 3, parents. If you don't have a lot of money, you send your kid to a school you cannot afford it. Yes, they may have some wiggle room, where they may give you some kind of a discount. All that's calculated to get you to come in and pay. Realize this, going in not to be able to afford it, when you come out you're not going to afford it. So it's all about being smart about it. Hofstra, great school. Macaulay, great school. Cooper Union, great school. It may not be for Michael, it may be for Susan, it may not be for Stony Brook. I'm sorry. Stony Brook, one of my football VPs to work there. All the schools are all great, but the biggest thing I see in the business, no one wants to do the research. That I cannot stress that enough. That research, it is critical. Anything you want to do in this business, if you don't know the research, you are going to be in a situation where, like at the end of January, like my decision is out already, I get a lot of parents who call me sometime in January, they will tell me, oh, Brian doesn't like the school, Susan doesn't like the school. The first thing I always ask, did he or she complete the comprehensive research? I always get a no. No, he did not. No, he did not. So let's do the research, understand, and ask a lot of questions. These are very, very open and helpful people. No one wants to trick you. It's a business. Okay? I'll stop here for now.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you for those very wonderful answers. For our next question, can you tell us about financial aid at your college? What is need blind? What is need aware? What are merit scholarships, grants, loans, and other terms of that nature?
Great question. So at Cooper Union, we are need blind, so all admitted students to Cooper receive a half tuition scholarship, and then they get additional merit and need-based aid based on their situation. Just last year, 47% of students attended Cooper tuition free. We're actually en route to going back to free tuition in about 5 years because that's what we were founded on. And that's something that's important to us. So at Cooper, you not only get a quality education that's very hands-on, but it's important for us for it to be affordable and not for a lot of students to go into a lot of debt. So I'm glad you asked this question about financial aid. And so at Cooper, we're a small institution, and we try to be generous to make Cooper a viable option to students and their families.
Boy, am I glad you're sitting down. Because we do cost a lot at Hofstra. We have a very high sticker price, and I have to tell you that because I don't want anybody to think I'm hiding anything. We do cost a lot, over $55,000, and that's without housing and meals, that's without books, that's without supplies, that's without car payments, bus fare, etc. Why do I tell you this? Because we know we cost a lot, and so we give out a lot of money. We need to. We have, at a private universities have something that is called discount rate. You're probably not going to hear about that in the info sessions or the virtual tours. But it's a behind-the-scenes term that we talk about, which means that colleges that are private and not regulated by the city and the state, we know that we don't expect people to pay our full sticker price. We know that we're going to discount the rate for the majority of families by at least 45-ish%, okay? That means that we don't expect people to pay our sticker price, I have to say that again, and we will further discount the rate with merit scholarships, which are academic-based. Scholarships that are merit-based in nature mean that they are based on your strong academic performance. There are talent-based grants. That is for students who specifically have a talent for something in the fine or performing arts or in the athletic arena. And they may be given further money for their talent in the arts or in sport. Okay, the Division I and Division II levels, there are talent scholarships for sports. If you have a talent for music, drama, dance, fine arts, you will want to contact those particular departments on any campus and say, do you have any talent grants? How can I go for it? And then ultimately, there is financial aid that is based on need. And we are need blind, which means that when we go to make an admission decision, we don't know how much money you have or how much money you don't have, how much money you need or how much money you don't need for your education. You're getting your admission decision and you're getting accepted because you qualified, whether you can afford to pay our price tag or not. Okay, so keep that in mind. And when we give our financial packages, that's why it's called a financial package, because it's comprised of a number of things. Merit scholarship, potential talent scholarship, need-based grants from the government, from the state if you go to school in New York State, and if it's a private school, New York State-based aid. If it's a state school, New York State gives a lot of aid. Okay? If it's a city-based school, the state gives a lot of aid. But private schools can go above and beyond what the city and the state and the federal government are doing. They can give their own offers, their own awards, and then that is how we further bring down our costs. Because we really don't expect people to pay $55,000+. If they live on campus, it's more than $75,000. So boy, am I glad you're sitting down when you hear that, because remember, there's money out there. There's money from the colleges. There's money from outside sources. Every day I talk to families, I talk to senior families. Right now it's the end of March. Seniors are making college decisions by May 1st, right? If today is the first time that a student hears about fastweb.com and they're a senior, they have very limited time to accumulate a whole bunch of funding for their college education. But you have time. So I encourage you to take note of fastweb.com. It's just one of many scholarship search engines. And see what you can find out there, because there's money out there. If you're left-handed, if you're red-headed, if you're an Italian vegetarian, you know how hard it is to give up chicken parm if you're Italian? So there's a scholarship for being an Italian vegetarian, okay? So now that I've made it a little bit of fun, maybe you'll be more motivated to go on and look for these things, because a lot of times students are really not, as you said, Ali, beautifully, a lot of people are not doing their research. So do your due diligence, see how much funding you can accumulate, and when October 1st comes around, you'll be ready to file that FAFSA, because that's the free application for federal student aid, and everybody should file it, whether they need money or don't think they need money, because you never know what kind of gift aid you could get out there. And that is all I'll say about money.
I wish I knew about that Italian vegetarian, because that's me, everybody. I'm the Italian, but chicken parm was very tough. But she's right on the money. Those scholarships out there are incredible. There are $20,000 scholarships. There's also $200 scholarships. And all that money can be squirreled away and used for the high tuition, or because you want to live on campus, or because you need a new car to get to campus, or that bus fare. Scholarships, the financial aid. We are a SUNY school. Our tuition is drastically different. We're about $7,000 a year. I think next year SUNY's creeping that up to about $7,700 per year. So we're, our tuition is nice and low. Now where our students from the city are seeing the difference is with housing. Typically students are not traveling from Queens every day. Some do. That's dedication. We have the train, it's drivable. We have students from the Bronx and New Jersey commuting to campus because that's their dream. However, about 80 to 85% of our first year class does live on campus. It's not required, so it is a financial option for some students. Now that housing cost, that's not covered by federal aid. It's also not covered mostly by scholarships. We base merit-based scholarships, kind of like what Andrea was saying and what Alicia was saying. It's merit-based. They are need-blind, meaning we don't care how much money your family makes. If you deserve that money is yours. So it's based off of the academics of all your hard work from in all of high school, sometimes even 8th grade when you start taking those high school level courses. So that's our gift to you. The outside scholarships is a huge source of funding for a lot of our students, but we also have internal scholarships outside of merit-based for valedictorians or salutatorians or students from specific high schools that have great alumni donations, or even our athletes or our talent-based scholarships. So there's money even within the university to be had. I think what's really important is that you go out there and start seeking it out now. A lot of those deadlines might come up this summer. So go out there and seek them out. And if you ever need anything, we all have financial aid offices too. Sometimes they're within our own department, sometimes they're separate. Ours is separate at Stony Brook. And we don't just help our own students, we help our prospective students like you all as well. Now, FAFSA is going to be a little different this year. They're rolling out a brand new financial aid application. It is not coming out in October this year. It's coming out in December. It just rolled, the news just rolled out 2 days ago. So hold up, make sure you do your taxes. You get 2 extra months to do so if you don't get it done by the tax deadline, because you're going to need those taxes from let's see, it's the 2024, so it's 2022 taxes. That's what you're going to be using on your FAFSA at the end of the year in December. So make sure to have those done and you do your FAFSA as soon as it rolls out, because I guarantee you schools are going to be scrambling in January to try and put those packages together for you.
The good thing about being last, everything has been said already, so I don't have to do much. So I thank you all for setting the foundation. But my colleagues, Andrea and everybody else, Christian, they said something very, very interesting. One of the biggest disappointment for me I used to see whenever students would make assumption. Well, my cousin applied to a college, did not get financially, so I'm not going to get it. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Every person's situation is different. Another thing that I often would see, parents, I was attending at one school, engineering school, which I'm not going to plug the school, and I remember there was a parent who 2 of his children had been admitted and he had to pay out of pocket. So I was trying to put heads together, how he can fund his 3rd child education. So I asked, I said, so we're just talking, very, very nice guy. And I said, so where do you work? And he told me where he worked, and I said to myself, your organization gives tuition reimbursement, 100%. He said, what do you mean? I said, how long have you been here? He said, 27 years, 30 years, something in that nature. And I said, no, your organization gives tuition reimbursement. He said, Mr. Command, I've been here all this years, no one ever told me that. Mommy and daddies, sometimes your jobs give what they call tuition reimbursement. You may never walk around and see a big poster in the wall say, in the HR office, we give tuition reimbursement, because it's a hush-hush thing. I don't know why. But go check with your HR offices. Sometimes you may have to pay up front and they give the money, or sometimes, it depends on the situation. So again, that is one avenue. Secondly, if you work for an institution, religious institutions, whether it's a synagogue, a church, a mosque, sometimes they give scholarship as well. Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, all these organizations give scholarships. When I talked about earlier about research, I'm not just talking about just a little area you go to the college. This is a mammoth of undertaking. So young people, if you want to get into good schools that you can afford, give up your social media. I promise you, if you can give it up for 90 days, and you get into a good school where almost you may be good for a free ride. And last but not least, in terms of scholarships, there's a website called scholarship.org. There are millions of dollars that go unclaimed because the kids don't want to write the essays. My son is going to start, this summer, start researching writing his essays. Okay? But not only that, you also have college saving plans, 529 college saving plans already. It may not be for anyone here right now, but maybe for other siblings, parents can start putting money away. It will come from your check directly, and you can, tax-free, by the way. You can save for other kids that may be behind you. So there you have that for money. So there are a lot of monies out there. Andrea sums it up beautifully. There's money and Christine beautifully. But again, you have to do the heavy lifting. So for Macaulay now, you'll get a merit scholarship for 4 years. But you also require, like what someone mentioned, I believe it's Andrea, you have to complete that FAFSA. Everyone has to complete the FAFSA at Macaulay. So whether your parents make $2 million or $5 million, you would get the merit scholarship, which is based on your academic achievement. Okay? So just to plug in our requirements quickly before I forget, we look for about 90 average, 1270 on the SATs, on the ACTs, 28 minimally, 33 is a good place to be. We only look at critical reading in math only, and also we test test optional, excuse me. If you submit your standardized test code, you cannot unsubmit it. If I see it, I cannot unsee it. I see a lot of people, let me just put that out right there. Oh, it's test option, I'm gonna submit it. Oh, I don't like the grade, I got it better. We super score and all of that. If you do not have to submit it, guys, you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to. If you submit, not necessarily you have a monopoly either. We, the schools, we found a way how to walk that middle ground to say those who are going to submit, we're going to look at them one way, and those who are going to submit, we're looking at another way. At the end, we're able to bring a good class in. Okay? Just to let it be known. You want to add something?
You touched upon this, but the scholarships out there, credit cards, if you have a credit card, if you have money in a bank somewhere, I mean, he kind of rolled out your churches, your ministries, your organizations, your community-based organizations, but little things, your banks, your credit cards, where you work. Maybe someone was in the military, maybe they were in 9/11, maybe you find a scholarship because you love cheese. I don't know. There's scholarships out there for everything, so just seek out that money.
Thank you. For question number 6, what do you look for in your applicants' essays and supplements?
This is
Yes, it wasn't. I'm not so lucky. Here's the thing, folks. When applicants go through this process, I feel, this is just my personal take for the almost 3 decades I've been in this business, a lot of students, it's like they're in a marathon. They try to rush to get things done quickly. Whether it's accurate or not, maybe it's a young people thing, I don't get it. I'm sure I was like that once upon a time. It's just a rush. If you're going to apply to any of the schools, you have a good chance of getting in, maybe a free ride. Pump the brakes. What I mean by pump the brakes, summertime, it's the best way. I have read so many bad essays, sometimes they give me nightmares. I can't even begin to tell you. Okay? My wife tells me, oh, you're talking in your sleep. Who is this person? I said, well, and I explain, I say, it's an essay. Like, what? Like, I kid you not, some of the essays are bad. But the good ones that are actually good, you can see the person is able to understand the question that is being asked. If you don't understand the question, you can write a perfect reading essay, and I'm sorry Andrea is laughing because she sees it all the time, and they miss the bullseye completely. Understand the essays and understand the theme of the college, what we look for. Our essay, we give you our own prompts, right? We give you 3 prompts. We say select 2, 500 words each. I cannot begin to tell you how many Hofstra essays I've seen, how many NYU essays I've seen, how many other schools essays I've seen. And that's a turn up for college. Turn up for college. So let me go through them quickly because I want to give my colleagues chances to speak on this again. Number 1, write about something that you very well know about. It is easy to write about something that you know very well. Number 2, do not write for any college rep because you don't know who they are and what they're about. I'm a religious runner. I'm a health freak. Excuse my language. I watch what I eat, everything. Water. Again, I'm just that person. So if you're trying to understand my head where I'm at, you're not going to get in. But again, when you write your essays, you're writing for yourself. Your objective is to do a good job. When you do a good job, in return, we would get that as job well done. What most students are trying to understand is what the college wants to know. What should the essay sound like? Well, I never worked as a high school English teacher, but I've read probably over 1 million essays over my career. I don't know how you can, and I know the MLA style of writing. In addition to that, I get one thesis topic. I can't begin to tell you how many essays that have so many thesis topics. I'm not even sure when they come, where they go. If you're going to talk about your summer vacation and you want to talk about the water pollution in the world, talk about that, but don't talk about the airport trips, don't talk about mommy and daddy got into a fight, don't talk about your brother almost drowned in the pool. No. Pick one topic. And last but not least, after you finish working your essay, leave it alone. Come back when you're cool. You'll be amazed when you walk away. Your perspective will be different. Give it to a few people. Be very careful when you give it to people, because sometimes they may want to give you, they may want to take the direction that may not work for you. There's a thing called cheating. Everyone here has read a lot of essays. You know what a 17-year essay sound like? When a 35-year New York Times writer essay sound like? You just know. Keep your voice. Keep the originality of your voice. Keep the authenticity of who you are. They can check for grammars. They can check for structure. But a 17-year-old, we like that innocent of you not knowing the world very well. It suits you and it serves you very, very well. 1 year, a faculty member who taught for 35 years and authored 17 books, I actually challenged her and she proved me right. She said, this is not a 17-year-old essay. The kid wrote about bacon. How many 17-year-old baking in theater right now? And if you're a baker, would you use the word puffery of smoke? I don't know, what does that mean? Puffery of smoke. And guess what? That's the terminology her grandma used to say to when her grandmother used to bake with her. And when she said, Miss Command, this is student and she said, read it. I read it, I missed it complete. And she said, have you ever heard of the word puffery? I said, puffery? Yeah, it's like when the aroma takes over the whole house. That's what my grandmother used to say. He said, because of that, she fought me tooth and nail not to admit that student, and I did not. But the essay was well written, and you can tell the language was from way back then. So we can tell, okay? Let me pause here and give my colleagues a chance for them to respond.
So yes, moms and dads, leave those essays alone. We don't want your essays. We want your students' essays, and we know when it's you. We've all been doing this a long time. We can tell a student's essay from a parent's essay or an older sibling's essay. There's also really key topics that come out every year. Those, stay away from Reddit for you students out there. Those Reddit blogs of those top essays, I am telling you, we've read 20 of them each, okay? Is ketchup a smoothie? It's a mixture of vegetables and fruits and liquids. You blend it up, and is it a smoothie? We've all read that essay because it was on a Reddit blog. So stay away from those. Write about something from your heart. Like I said, put that color into your application. We want to know who you are. That's the point of the essay. My big thing with essays is make sure they're grammatically correct. I say that because you're going to hear it from all of your counselors and teachers, and it's amazing how many essays we get that are not grammatically correct. So just make sure it's grammatically correct. My other point, and then I'll pass it on, you do not need some sort of catastrophe or death in the family or some major thing to happen. You're 17 years old. Not everyone has had some incredibly sad loss in their life to write an amazing essay. It can be about something phenomenal, something great, something positive. It does not have to be that. And a lot of students go there because they're trying to pull the heartstrings, and it doesn't have to go there, especially if it doesn't mean something to you. So it doesn't always have to be that. A couple of years ago we were saying, please don't write about COVID, please don't write about COVID. And I think enough of us have said it at this point that we've stopped receiving those essays, but now we're back to the losses otherwise. So that's my 2 cents.
You can write about any topic. The subject is always going to be you. It's got to be you. The subject is you. You can write about an inspiring person in your life. But what do we learn about you? You can talk about making cookies, and it can be such a simple thing. But if we can involve our 5 senses and we learn about how baking cookies with a family member has given you a greater sense of quality time with that family member, you can do that. It can be very simple, mundane activity or moment. It doesn't have to be monumental or momentous. Ask yourself this, when it's done, if my essay was printed out and fell out of my bag and then wafted through the halls of my school and my best friend picked it up, this is totally hypothetical of course, but if my best friend then picked it up, would they know it was mine? Or could it be anybody else of my age, experience, and in any other high school in America, not just in Queens, okay? Could it be anybody else's, or is it uniquely my story that my best friend knows? And please be careful with the wordiness, because not only if you're too wordy, then it cuts you off if you use the Common App at 650 words, okay? So it can't be more than 650. And if you can say what you need to in 500, bless you, that's great. But you don't want to be so wordy and so over the top that we have to start looking into a thesaurus to try to understand what you mean. And now we don't feel so smart. And that's not a good feeling. And we don't want to have to go to a thesaurus to understand what you mean, okay? We want to hear your voice and hear your story. And yes, when you put the name of another college in the body of your essay, it really does hurt us to find out how much you love Binghamton. So, be mindful and use all the tools that you have. And I loved what you said about being judicious with how many people you share your essay with, because your voice can get lost if you share it with everybody you know. But 2 or 3 trusted individuals who will help pick out things that maybe your eye didn't pick up. And also, sometimes you have to read it out loud in the mirror, because you have to know if it sounds like you. And sometimes you have to make sure that it's not misrepresenting you. I mean, you don't want to sound like you're being totally conceited if you're not, okay? So you really want to make sure that it sounds like you and it represents you well, and all the other stuff that you heard. This is great advice, folks. And start it over the summer, because if you could come to your senior year with this done, at least a draft done, you will thank yourself, because this is the one thing, the one piece of your application that you have total control over until the moment you hit submit. Don't let that be a reason to procrastinate on hitting submit. Okay? There's our advice, and we have one more. Keep it going.
Yes, so I second everything that my colleagues have said in reference to the essay. For us, it would be the Common App essay, so I'm not going to repeat any of that. So for the supplemental part, because we're such a small school, it is equally important. So I would encourage students not to drop the ball there. That's really where the research of the school comes into play, because we're asking specific questions about, like, why do you want to come to Cooper? Why do you want to study that specific major? So for us, if you're coming for architecture? Why architecture? Why architecture at Cooper? Why mechanical engineering? What do you even know about that? Even if you don't know everything, because we're going to teach that to you, we do want to see like an indication, an interest, like what led you to want to come to our school, or what led you to want to study that specific major. Because we want to make sure that we're a good fit for you, and that's how we see that in the supplemental part of the essays. So I would definitely say, in reference to Cooper, definitely make sure that you put a lot of energy equally there also.
All right, thank you so much. For our 7th question, Townsend Harris is a highly competitive high school. Do you take that factor into consideration when you evaluate our students' applications? All right. For our final answer, we would like to actually open the floor for our students and parents. So if any of you have any questions, I would actually like to ask Tech if they can turn on the lights in the audience so we can actually see the raised hands. But yeah, you now have the opportunity to ask them questions.
Yes, thanks for the panelists. You've been extremely helpful to get all your perspectives. I have 2 questions. Okay? One is, on the essays, especially, in this day and age, Chat GPT, is all over the place, and and there are people who use all kind of tools available, like he said, do all research. So how do schools actually differentiate? If I say, for example, written by a student, all the students number of seats only available, limited seats, how do you normalize, the person who not taken a SAT exam or did not see the score compared to another person who's taken this test and given probably a good score or something? How do you normalize, in terms of comparing the students? Thank you.
So to answer your second question, and this is something, it's interesting because we don't get this question from students, we only get it from parents. And it's because even when we were going to school, you just took the SAT. It was part of the routine. We all had to take it. It was part of your school. You had to either prep, or maybe you didn't get prep at your school, but you had to sign up. Your school didn't host it either. That's something new. We had to travel to the only school in our area that was giving that SAT on that day, but it was part of the routine. So when we get this question, it's typically only from parents. But it's as simple as it's one test score. It's one part of your application. Without that one part, we rely on everything else. And we've always relied on everything else. We have relied on your years of grading, your years of course selection. Andrea put it perfectly when she said it's the roadmap. It tells us what you chose, what you had to take, what was an elective. Did you go up? Did you go down? Did you stay solid the whole time? Years of historical data, right? An SAT is one day. So when we're talking about a score, if it's a great score, if it's going to enhance your application, and the school is test optional, it's different for each school. There's no one good score. A great score of 1100 might be at one school, you might need a 1400 at another school. So when we're talking about a good score, it's a good score for the one school that you're looking at that exact moment. Enhance your application for that school, submit away. If not, leave it out, because it is simply just one factor. I don't remember what the first question was, but that was the second.
I think the other one was about comparing student to student. And at some colleges and universities, maybe they have to, because they're deadline-based colleges and universities, they can take the entire roster of all the applicants and then they can compare student to student. But fortunately, I am not at a school that does that. We are looking at each applicant for each applicant and how do they fit in with the rubric of what we're looking for. How are they academically? How are they in co-curricular life? How do they write? How many years of math and science and foreign language have they taken? How many advanced courses have they taken? All those things. And if we feel that the student could be successful, we don't compare them to anybody else, but to our own little rubric and what we think that a student would need to be successful here, and then we can say, congratulations. And then a whole bunch of letters go out in December, and then a whole bunch more go out in January, and then a whole bunch more go out every couple of days after that until we run out of applications to read. So we are not all comparing students to students.
Great question. And I'll yell louder so they can hear.
No, I just want to. Is that a fucking? I can't tell where the mics are anymore. They lost 22 seconds. They're literally sitting on the tables.
If your parents didn't go through the typical process
Exactly.
of the states, and you're going through it the first time on your own, what support or resources would you recommend?
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to take that question. Thank you for asking that. America is the land of all. Where people migrate from somewhere to come here. So we don't have to have a start somewhere.
She hasn't had a month or so.
But I'll say this.
He's had a month on the
Again, with someone that mentioned GTP, I'm all about innovation. Right now, you have so many organizations that provide free services that are out there. There's so many organizations that are willing to help people, whether they're new to the process or whether they want to retool or whether they may just need help to complete the process. I would probably say, do not let anyone charge you for this though, okay? Do not go pay $10,000 for something that's costing you $200. Don't do that, okay? But if you look carefully, CBO, CBI, a lot of the schools, I mean, again, the school here, you guys have a well-run machine, Veronica, York, and her team, hands down, you're going to get the help here. But some schools in the DOE, they have contract with other organizations such as CBO and CBIs who counselors are there to assist. And sometimes some schools have like 400 seniors with one counselor. You know, it is almost impossible for that counselor to see individual students. They can only do a blanket service. But this is what the students can do themselves. They can go on their phones, they can start doing research. We have open houses, info sessions. I run my own info sessions where I go in depth into the explain process, not about Macaulay, but about the industry, things you can do. And when we speak here, even though we use our schools as the catalyst, but we also give other information. So again, if a student who's really, really interested in finding their own path, there are people that can help you. You go on any social media app, you put a call to say, hey, my name is Ali Kamara, I'm from XYZ country, I'm new, I need help. I'm sure you get 1,000 people that went through the same similar process to try to help you. So again, when you put yourself out there, someone is going to come rescue you, but again, don't suffer in silence to say, well, if I don't say anything, I'm embarrassed. No, you don't have to be embarrassed. You don't. But again, if I'm not sure if your parents or students, if your child is here, they're covered. No, they're covered. This school, the reason I came over from Jersey, when I got the call, sign me up, because I know the amount of work that they give. But some other students are not privileged to that because of the neighborhood that they live in, or the financial situation with the school structure, or maybe it's funded, I don't know. Okay?
Also us. That's what our jobs are, is to assist you with your questions. I think it's important to note that I'm also not your friend, so don't text me like rapid fire emails. I get those too. I get like 8 emails in a row from a student. You all know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
They show up in your inbox 8 times and it's like, oh, and this.
They're sending us those too.
Yeah.
The same exact child.
Same thing. We are not your friends, but if you send me an email with 10 bulleted questions, I promise you I'm going to answer every single one of them.
Again, it's a very important. Thank you for saying that. We get a lot of email where they give you a whole dissertation, and at the end you ask, how can I help this person? My name is Brian Smith from Townsend Harris. Here's my question. What is Macaulay's GPA? Then you can give your dissertation. 9 out of 10, I'm not going to read your whole entire email because I got your question. I'll go and get the most important part out of it to say, oh, it's a conversation. Most of the time when a student sends me an email, from the first few lines, I can tell what I need to respond back to you. I need to call you and give you a conversation. Because a conversation is going to stop me from having 10 emails. 10 emails for one student is about 20 you get from another student. The way you can eliminate that, again, I know it sounds like a broken record, so my apologies in advance. Comprehensive research. The reason why you have all those emails, you send them because your sons and daughters don't want to do the research themselves. They rather we do it for them. They rather Veronica York and her team do it for them. If you go on the website, 99.99% of their questions can be answered. I actually do this each year to see if it changes. They will ask Google a question. Google does Macaulay has engineering. They get it 30 seconds later, they're gone. That's not research. Research means I get a small book or some kind of device and you log in your pros and cons, but come back multiple times and you record it. When you've done so, that's going to help you in 2 cases. When you're applying, it tells you the best school has the right fit for you. Second of all, now you got accepted to 4 prestigious schools here. Which one you're going to select? Then you have another headache. So if you go back to your notes, that can also help you, guide you to say, after my comprehensive research, Stony Brook is the best for me. Hofstra is the best for me. Cooper Union is best for me. Or Macaulay. Comprehensive research is going to get you there. I promise you, guys. Again, I don't want to be the dead horse, but trust me, you're not going to get any far or good schools without your comprehensive research.
There's a question on this side. This side. Is it possible to get the house lights on the audience so we can see them? There we go.
Because we know our young people
aren't sure what they want to do when they grow up, so they choose a major. How easy or difficult is it to change majors once they applied under that major?
We're each gonna take this one.
All right, so I'll go first. In reference to Cooper, you have to know what you want to do, whether that's art or architecture. With engineering, there is no undecided major. You have to pick the engineering major that you're interested in. That's where admissions comes along, so you can always ask us questions about each of the programs. We can connect you to current students, just so you get all that information about the school and the major. Faculty are always willing to speak with prospective students as well to help them understand what they have in store or what this looks like when you graduate in terms of a career. So for Cooper, it is not easy because when we're admitting, we're looking at you for that particular major that you've applied to. So for engineering, the first year, you're all doing like similar classwork with science and math. But I wouldn't get too far, like your third year or so, and say you want to switch because that's going to be quite hard to do.
That's very different from what we do at Hofstra, where when you apply for admission and we offer you admission, you're then admitted to everything with the exception of nursing and physician assistant studies, unless you went through those specific processes. So pretty much you're accepted to the whole university except for those two programs. And the reason being those two are direct entry and have multi-step consideration process. But you could change your major every single day for 2 years at Hofstra. You just couldn't transfer into nursing or physician assistant studies. But it could be criminology today, engineering tomorrow, management the next day. Or any of the other combinations.
So Stony Brook is a little bit of a combination. There are some programs that are known as restricted, meaning you have to enter into those programs, any engineering, computer science, anything within our College of Engineering and Applied Sciences. Our College of Business is also restricted, as well as things like creative writing and music, because they require some sort of additional piece to get into the program. However, the only school that is completely restricted is that College of Engineering and Applied Science. Otherwise, you can come in as, we see this more often than not, you come in as biology, and you go into your first biology, chemistry, or math course, and you're like, absolutely not, I'm not doing this for 4 years. And you find some other incredible major out of 200 that we have to offer you. And that ease of flexibility of changing into and out of majors is really great until about the middle or the end of your second year. By that point, you should have some understanding of where you want to spend the last 2 years of your college. You have to make what's called achievable progress towards graduation to keep your financial aid. That means taking classes that you need to graduate. Some students can be perpetual college students and stay there for 6 or 8 years. We don't want that. We don't want that for you. We don't want that for us. We want you to get out and do incredible things in the world. So you need to kind of take those 2 years if you're not quite sure. However, kind of getting back to what Alicia was saying, for engineering, you gotta know engineering, that is what you want. Now, if you get into engineering or computer science, you can change your mind into anything else. You're at the top of the food chain in that regard. You just can't switch into that, okay?
Well, Alicia said the best, and also Andre. Pretty much it's the same thing for Macaulay. If you're not applying in the areas of STEM or STEM, you may have a little bit of problem. So engineering, nursing, some of those programs, you come in, apply to that school or that program directly. But for liberal arts, it's okay. And the reason why school was designed for 4 years, the first 2 years, you're just kind of exploring. You're taking level 1 and level 200 courses. So we hope at that point you'll already find a passion, okay? And this is where students go, I call it a swimming. They go swim left, I want mathematics, computer science. I thought you said you want to be a doctor. Oh no, computer science. I thought you want to be computer science. No, nursing. So, it was except for nursing. But they kind of go all over the place. When you get into the college, it's okay if you don't know what you want to study. It is fine. It's not chicken little. I promise you you'll be fine. Just apply to a good school. Maybe the school is closer to your home. Maybe you may be interested in X, Y, and Z major. And when you get in there, I promise you, by the end of your second year, something's going to stick to you, whether you like it or not. You're going to have a passion. You're going to have a passion. So again, areas of engineering,
STEAM or STEM, just be very mindful about that you apply to that program. Sometimes the program may even reject you, but you may be admitted to liberal arts programs as well, okay? Just to let me know. But that's a very, very good question, and thank you for raising it.
That's a good job.
So I have an essay-related question. If you are applying for a STEM program like engineering, but your passion is a musical instrument, can you write about that? Will that affect your application?
It's about how you do it, because a lot of things can relate to one another. When you think about music, when I'm thinking about engineering specifically, mechanical engineering comes to mind when you think about music, when you think about acoustics and vibrations of how that sound works. That's more of that technical piece, but if you can kind of frame, sometimes people do it like if they're creative writers, they might try to tie it together, like I play this instrument the same way that I would build this robot or whatever, something like that. Sometimes people can ingrain a lot of their creative aspects in relation to engineering. It just has to make sense. Like if it makes sense to you and the dots have been connected, and you might get someone to look at it, not to change it, but to proofread, to say, hey, if I didn't tell you what this was, do you understand what I'm saying? Because that's how it is when we read it. But you can definitely put that in there, because it all kind of aligns together, because you're an inventor, a creator, and all that's involved in engineering as well.
And then if the school has a music program, or we have performance ensembles, or a marching band, and you want to continue on with that, we don't care what your major is. I think Hofstra's marching band is like Hofstra's marching band. Stony Brook has the spirit of Stony Brook. So every school is going to be a little bit different with that, but the ability to continue that passion is only going to add to your knowledge base and make you a more incredible human in the end. So take that passion and continue on with it.
I just want to add quickly, just as a cautionary tale, okay? Be careful. I get a lot of documentation that is submitted to me that we don't require. For selective schools, please follow the rules and regulations. Like we provide you with our own essay prompts, okay? And I get a lot of personal essays. Christina said it's best, you're trying to pull those heartstrings. 9 out of 10 doesn't work. When you've been in this business long enough, you know how to separate personal versus business. So again, for the essay question, you engineering, if they ask you, please write an essay about a project that you work on in junior high school. They expect you to write about something scientific, okay? They're not asking you for you to go write about your music notes. It may be something acoustic, what my colleague said earlier. It may be that, but you can. But be very, very careful with that. The essay question, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, it's not so much we're trying to trick you, but we're trying to see how you process the information. Selective schools, you have this many people applying, you got this many spots. So don't go submit an essay because everybody in your school that read said, this is a great essay. Oh, I won first place. No, that's not what we asked for. No. So just be mindful about that, okay? Just as a cautionary tale.
I want to jump on the college essay piece just because I want to make sure that we're really, really getting this right and that we're on top of it. Your worst enemy is going to be you and procrastination in the college essay. Every single one of your junior year teachers is going to make an assignment of the college essay and use the Common App prompts. They're going to grade it and give it back to you with feedback. If that doesn't happen, feel free to email me and I'll have some real conversations. That's going to happen. So that means that's an assignment. Then, when I'm speaking to you about college essays, I've said it 100 million thousand times. Start journaling. Journal, 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 journal. Every night, journal. Free write whatever you want. If you need, download a list of prompts, and the first 100, that's your next 100 days, and journal every single night. It's a muscle and you need to flex it. It's not a research paper. We don't want to hear any of your research terms or MLA format. They want to know you and who you are, and that comes across when you just get used to writing. So we need to practice it. We don't do it enough in high school, and we need to start doing it now. The summer is not the break from the college essay. It's a time to fine-tune your college essay and review all of the supplements. You'll have your one main one should be done, and you can tweak it and fine-tune it, And then it's all of your supplements, which you're going to have a couple from each school that you're applying to. That's your time to really do it. And hold on, my dear, I held back on responding because I wanted to let them respond, but come to us. I'm a control freak, and I don't trust the outside world with your applications. Come to us. If someone doesn't get it or you need something else, you can always come see me. Your counselor isn't there that day, go to a different one. You've seen all of us. Walk into any of our doors. But like, this is what we've done for a long time. This is what I find fun with. Helping you through a college list is way better than half the other things that I have to do at my job. Come see us. These are the fun things that we get to do. And this is why, for the most part, we really try our best to keep the same counselor for 4 years, because we really want to get to know you. The person that says hello to orientation and welcomes you in, if I always can, that same person writing a letter of recommendation and making a list of schools that watched your growth over the past 4 years, that's the human I want really, truly helping you. Not someone that has a list of colleges that's handing you the same list that they handed every other kid that just walked in. It doesn't just work for my jam. Not for my Townsend Harris kids. Something you want to hand? What? Oh, your junior questionnaire, like start practicing that. And if you're stuck and you don't know things, use those college essays, those videos that we have up there. Those are great for parents. All the things that you haven't really thought of, let them start. Yeah. Start driving range. I was even thinking I could write an entire college essay about like a recipe of baking cookies and what each different part of the recipe represents of me and who I am. You could have fun with this, but you have to have fun with it. All right, Helen, I'm going to pass it over to you and let you wrap it up. And thank you, everyone, for tonight.
All right, one more time, I would just like to thank our representatives who are here today. So one more round of applause. Before we leave, I just wanted to say on behalf of everyone, we learned a lot from you today, so thank you. And we also have a couple surprises for you as a thank you. So...
Thank you to our amazing PTA for supporting this night.
All right, once again, we appreciate all of you for coming. Thank you so much for spending your time today with us, because I'm sure you all have very busy schedules. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you.